This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so yesterday we were doing the release strategy configuration. Where is that? Let me see. That release, right? Release. Okay, so yesterday we were doing the release strategy configuration. So we were able to create a release strategy that is PZ and Z1. So we were trying to maintain the characteristic values, that is CL24N. Okay, so let me go to the system. SAP is not working now. If it is not working, then what to do? We will not. Let me go to the. Oh, how to test AR now? Then how to work now? So SAP is not there. What to do? Okay, we got stuck now. So we were trying to do the release strategy configuration, but SAP is not working. I don't know what to do now. Okay. Let me see if there is another server is working. Thing is working. Do you have any other server? Anyone has any other server? Hello? So does anyone has another server? Hello?
Sir, I have also same problem, sir.
Okay, so your server also same thing, I think. Okay, so
No, sir. My server is something else, sir. But same thing. I have same problems.
What about others? Does anyone has another server number? So that please share it to me. What to do now? Yeah, okay. Okay, so what we will do? I will park this scenario today. Why? Because we were not able to proceed further. Okay, so what to do now? Let me call him Rafi, right? Hello, Rafi.
Hello.
Rafi. అది ఎస్ఏపి వర్క్ అవ్వట్లేదు. ఎస్ఏపి వర్క్ అవ్వట్లేదు. మీది ఏదైనా వేరే సర్వర్ ఏమైనా ఉందా? హలో, వేరే సర్వర్ ఏమన్నా ఉందా నీది? ఎస్ఏపి ఆన్లైన్ సర్వర్ కాకుండా వేరేది ఇంకేమన్నా ఉందా? ఓకే, ఎక్కడున్నావు? ఎక్కడున్నావు అంటున్నా? ఓకే, రమ్మంట తొందరగా. ఓకే ఓకే ఓకే. సో in between, let us discuss something else. Let us see. We will try to do some theory part. Okay, so what we will do, we will try to discuss one thing known as a price determination process, theory part. Okay, so otherwise we will try to discuss a scenario number 2. Scenario number 2 is subcontracting procurement process. Subcontracting procurement process. So what is subcontracting procurement process? So subcontracting procurement process is one of the special procurement process wherein which you as the company will order the finished product or semi-finished product from a subcontracting vendor. Okay, so what will happen here? There is a vendor, like you can see, there is a one of the company known as Hero Honda company. We say Hero Honda company. Then let us say in Hero Honda company, they thought of manufacturing engine assemblies. Let us say they want to manufacture Hero Honda engine assembly. Then, so to manufacture engine assembly, we need various individual components, right? Like you need a crankshaft is one of the spare material within the engine assembly. Then you have a inlet valve, and you have a outlet valve. Then you have a cylinder assembly, right? So these are all the various cylinder assembly. So like this, there will be various individual spare material that will be available within the engine assembly. Let us say I want to manufacture one engine assembly. If I want to manufacture one engine assembly, I need a crankshaft of one number, two inlet valve, two outlet valve, and one cylinder. So if I want to manufacture 1,000 engine assemblies, I need 1,000 crankshaft, 2,000 inlet valve, 2,000 outlet valve, and 1,000 cylinder assemblies. Let us say Hero Honda company wants to assemble an engine, but let us say they have a vendor from which they will buy all these individual materials. Okay, so there is a one vendor. So by using the normal procurement scenario, so this is the normal procurement scenario which we have discussed. Scenario number 1. By using the scenario number 1, they have purchased all individual components or the spare materials, and they have stock for each and every spare material in their company. So let us say Honda company, they don't have a skilled labor.
Sir, here is not audible, sir.
Yeah, hi, can you hear me? Hello?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
sir.
We can hear you.
Okay, so let us start.
Yes,
Okay,
sir. Yes, sir.
let me open SAP. So SAP started working. Okay, so let me go to the. Okay, so yeah, now it is started working. Okay, so yesterday we were discussing regarding the release strategy. We were able to do the release strategy completely. Let me go to the Excel sheet. So we were trying to maintain the characteristic values, that is via CL24N transaction code. So let me get into the CL24N. So let me.
Sir, is it recording, sir?
Hello?
No,
Sir,
sir.
is it
Recording is
recording?
off.
Pardon me?
Recording is
Sir,
off.
is it recording, sir?
Yes, recording is going on, right? Recording is progress, it is saying.
Okay, sir.
Recording
This
is going on.
conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so let us start. So yesterday we were able to create a release strategy. As a part of release strategy, we were able to create various edit characteristics we were able to create. Then we were able to create the class. Then we were able to set up the procedure with classification. And we were trying to do the class value characteristics values maintenance by using CL24N. Okay, so let me go to the CL24N. So the class is PR class 10 and the class type is 032. PR class 10 only, right? So what is the class? No, PR class 7. Okay, so PR class 7 is the class type and the characteristic class type is 032. Okay, so the PO release strategy, purchase requisition release strategy is PG is the release group and Z1 is the purchase requisition release strategy. So it has, we were able to maintain the characteristic values for each and every characteristic. So what is the meaning of this? The meaning of this is you create a purchase requisition which has a document type, any one of these, like it can be a 9NB or it can be FO or it can be JNB or NB or UB, which has a purchasing group of any one of these 000 or 001, etc. and which has a plant either IN47 or IN48, which has a creation date either 30 or 3105, and which has the requisition purchase organization IN47 or IN48, and which has a value in between these, any one of these will trigger the release strategy PZZ1, which has 8 levels of approval included in it. So that is the meaning. Okay, now I will go back. I will go back to the SPRO configuration screen. And I will go to the SAP reference implementation guide. Then I will go to the materials management. Then purchasing. Then purchase requisition. Then we have a release procedure for the purchase requisitions. Procedure with classification. So I will go to the setup procedure with classification. So I will go to the release strategies. So here we have a release prerequisites. We were able to check the below ones. Then I will go to the release statuses. So nobody released the purchase requisition. That means the requisition is still in blocked category. And all 8 levels released. So then my purchase requisition will be ready for conversion into a purchase order or the request for quotation. Then I will go to the continue. So here I see under classification, whatever may be the characteristic values that I maintained for each and every characteristic, I will be able to see it over here. Okay, so by using CL24N, I was able to maintain the characteristics, right? So those characteristic values, I will be able to see it over here. Okay, so then now I will click on next button. So release simulation, whether your release strategy is working properly or not, if you want to check, you can check it over here. So I have 8 levels. Okay, so now my requisition is in blocked category, means nobody approved it. So I will try to test this particular release strategy, whether it is working fine or not. How I will test? I will go to the release simulate. So if level 1 wants to approve the requisition, he can directly approve it. No need of waiting. Why? Because there is no prior approval authority before him. So he can directly release. If he wants to release, he can release. But level 2 wants to release, then level 1 should release first. Then only level 2 will be eligible for the release. So let us say level 1 is try to release this. I will set the release strategy as the released for the level 1. Okay, so once the release is affected, then it will go to the release level 2 approval. If the level 2 approved it, it will go to level 3, then level 4, then level 5, level 6, level 7, and level 8. Okay, so till here it is under blocked category, but once the level 8 raised, it will go to the status 2, nothing but ready for creating a request for quotation or the purchase order against this particular purchase requisition. See, now it is ready for the release. So if you want to check, you can check it over here, whether your release strategy which you have created is working fine or not. So I will just click on close button. Now I will try to save it and I will go back. Workflow, if you want to have the automatic mail trigger functionality for your purchase or purchase requisition release, then you can have the following settings available. Not only these settings, apart from this, you need to do so many other settings as well. But here, what are the settings that are required, we will discuss. So I will go to the new entries for a particular purchasing group and the release code combination. And for the plant, let us say plant is IN47. For the plant IN47, and for the user ID, object type is nothing but user ID, which is nothing but US. I will select user ID. Here also I will put user only. Means every person will have their own user ID to log in into the SAP system in the real-time projects. So what is the, let us say level 1 supervisor is having a user ID as Rafi, and level 2 person is having a user ID as Chakravarti. Here we don't have many user IDs, right? So I am maintaining only one user ID for all the purpose per people. But in the real-time projects, every person will have their own user ID. It is not like that one person will have one user ID and say other person also will have same user ID. Every person or every level will have their own user ID to log in into the SAP system. So why I am maintaining user ID over here? If I wanted to generate an automatic mail to the relevant person, let us say I want to generate an automatic mail for the Rafi. Okay, then I need to find out the email address, right? So where I will find the email address? The email address of this particular person will be available under the user ID. So if you wanted to see the user ID, you need to get into the SC01D transaction code and put user ID as Rafi. So here you see there is something known as email, right? So email address, here the email address will be maintained. Okay, so from this particular place, the email ID will be captured and it will try to send a reminder to the relevant level of authority regarding the release or the approval mechanism of your purchase requisition. Okay, so I need to specify the user ID over here for each and every level of authority. So I will be capturing the email ID from the user ID details where it got mentioned. So I will just save it. Apart from this, if you want to trigger a mail to the relevant person, there is so many other settings as well, but those settings will be taken care by the basis team. Like there is something known as STMP, Simple Mail SMTP, Simple Mail Transfer Protocol settings. Those settings also we need to do. Along with that, there will be some objects which needs to be activated to trigger the automatic mail functionality. Okay, but for now you just keep it on this thing, that is not a problem. So with this we were able to create a purchase requisition release strategy. If you want to check your release strategy is working fine or not, or if the release strategy has some problems, it will show under this list with the red color. Okay, I think our release strategy doesn't have any problems, so it will not be showing over here. I will now go back. Okay, so we were able to do the creation of the purchase requisition release strategy. So now what I will do, I will try to create a purchase requisition and I will see whether our purchase requisition is triggering the release strategy at the item level or not, we will see. So I will try to create a purchase requisition which has a characteristic values within the characteristics that I maintained in the release strategy. I will go to ME51N. So I will try to create a purchase requisition with document type as a NB. NB is nothing but one of the characteristic values which I have considered in the purchase requisition. Okay, also the material is X906, quantity is 1000 numbers, the delivery date is 30/06/2022, plant is IN47. So plant characteristic is now falling under the characteristic values which I maintained. 0002 and purchasing group is 000, which is maintained in the characteristic values. Purchasing organization is IN47. Also the value of the purchase requisition is greater than or equal to 0. So my purchase requisition value is 5000. That means it is greater than or equal to 0. And I am creating a requisition on today's date, which is also one of the characteristic value for the purchase requisition creation date. So all my characteristic values are getting sufficed now. I will able to see the release strategy that is getting triggered over here in the item level. You see this is the item level release, right? If I have one more line item, I can see for that particular line item also altogether a separate release strategy trigger. Let us say I am entering one more line item. And the IN47 purchase organization is IN47. See, my line item number 10 has a release strategy triggered, that is release strategy Z1. Okay, also I will now go down to the line item number 2. Line item number 2 also got triggered the release strategy individually. So every line item has their own release strategy triggered, since the purchase requisition release strategy is a item level release strategy. I need to release every material individually. So what is the purchase requisition that got created? That is 100. 100,480,87 is the purchase requisition. So this particular purchase requisition has 2 line items, and every line item has its own release strategy included in it. If I want to convert this particular purchase requisition into a purchase order, let us say I will go to ME21N and I will put the 7030 as the vendor number, and I am trying to convert this requisition into a order. We will see it says purchase requisition item number 10 not released for the ordering. That means it is not approved. So if you want to create a purchase order with reference to the requisition, it should be completely released or approved by the various levels of people. So I will just close it and I will go back. So I will now try to release the purchase requisition. Individual release. What is the individual release transaction code for the purchase requisitions release? So the ME54N is the transaction code for the individual release of the purchase requisitions. So I will just click on okay, so I will go down. See, if I wanted to release a line item number 1, normally in the real-time projects, only one person can release only one level of release. But this is the testing system where I can have access to release all the levels. Let us say I want to approve a line item number 10. I can approve over here. I will thoroughly cross-check the each and every details of the requisition and I will try to approve it. Or I can reject also. Let us say there is something known as a rejection. Okay, if you want to reject, you can reject the line item as well. So now the requisition is rejected. If I wanted to cancel the rejection, I can cancel it and I can reject it. I can accept it. Okay, but in the real-time projects, there will be separate people to approve or reject. But here it is a test system. I myself have access to approve or reject for all the line items. Okay, so I am trying to approve all the levels one by one. See now level 7, till level 7 it is under blocked category only. So level 7 also approved it. Okay, now you have, see till level 7 the line item number 10 of the requisition is under blocked category. I will try to approve level 8 also. When I approved level 8, so my requisition status of the line item number 10 is went for the request for quotation and the purchase order creation. Means now I can create a purchase order with this particular line item number 1. If I wanted to release a line item number 20, I will go to the next line item. Again, I can release line item 20 individually. Why? Because it is a item level release. I can release every line item separately in the process. Okay, so I also released the line item number 20. Okay, so now I can convert this particular purchase requisition into a order or the request for quotation. This is the individual release. Mass release, I created 2 request for quote purchase requisitions. let us say I will quickly create two requisitions. I wanted to release them. So this is the requisition I will create. I will copy. I just saved it. Again, I created one more requisition by copying the existing requisition and I saved it. So there are two purchase requisitions which got created. Like that, if you have 100 purchase requisitions, you can release 100 purchase requisitions in one go by using a mass release of the purchase requisitions transaction code. What is the mass release? ME55 is the mass release of the purchase requisitions. I can release 10 purchase requisitions in one go as a release. So I will go to ME55. So level 1 release. What is the release code? That is L1, level 1. I want to release level 1 purchase requisitions in first go. And what is the release group? What is the release group? That is PZ. And I will click on execute. Scope of list I can take it as ALV and I can execute it. So these are the two requisitions. Each requisition has two line items. If I wanted to release all 4 line items of the two requisitions, I can release in mass. See, I'm just clicking over here. So my line item purchase requisition number 1 and purchase requisition number 2 and the level 1 is now released. If I wanted to release or approve level 2, I will put level 2 over here and I can execute. I can release it over here. Now level 3. And level 4. And level 5. And level 6. And level 7. And level 8. So now my purchase requisition is, both the purchase requisitions are released under all the levels. Okay, so this is something about the purchase requisition release strategy. Any clarification required in case of release strategy for the purchase requisitions? Are you able to follow the steps that we were able to execute here?
Yes, sir.
What about others? It is one of the very important topic, right? Okay, so then with this, if there is no questions, we can continue with the next step in the procurement cycle. So the next step in the procurement cycle is, I created a purchase requisition. I was able to execute the purchase requisition release. Then the next step in the procurement cycle is a vendor selection process. As a purchase department person, I am able to really receive a requisition which is thoroughly approved. Then what I have to do? I need to find out the relevant vendors to procure this particular material. Before selecting one of the best vendor, I need to find out 3 different vendors who will be able to deliver this particular material X906 from the external market. Let us say procurement department identified 3 different vendors for the comparison purpose. So what are those vendors? I will go to MKVZ and I will try to find it out, the 3 different vendors who will be able to deliver this particular material from the external market. Let us say these are the 3 vendors, 70272829 or 70282930. So vendor number 1 is 7028 and 7029 7030. So these are the 3 vendors who will be able to deliver the material to me, which was identified by the procurement department. Then procurement department, once the vendors are identified, so the procurement department will raise or call them to provide the quotes for the materials what they are trying to buy. So they will create one of the document known as a request for quotation, and that particular quotation will be created and given to the each and every vendor. So vendor 7028 will be created one request for quotation and given, 7029 one request for quotation, 7030 one request for quotation. Request for quotation is nothing but a tender. Let us say you want to buy one material. So what you will do, you will raise a tender, right? So against that particular tender, they will be, whatever maybe the person will be able to deliver that material, they will give you the tender details against the tender which you have populated, which is nothing but a request for quotation. So let us say vendor number 1 said he gave, you created one request for quotation against vendor number 1. So how you are going to create a request for quotation? You are going to create a request for quotation by using ME41 transaction code. Where you will create the request for quotation? You go to the request for quotation. Quotation ME47 is transaction code to create. ME41 is to create a request for quotation. ME42 to change a quotation. ME43 display. ME45 a release. Quotations also will have the release strategy included in it. And if you wanted to see the list of quotations that are created, you have various transaction codes, ME4L, ME4M, ME4S, like that, etc. I wanted to create a request for quotation for the material X906 against a vendor number 1. How I will create? I will go to the ME41. The request for quotation document type is AN. AN is the request for quotation document type as per SAP standard. Then the request for quotation date is today's date, and request for quotation deadline date. What is the deadline that you are going to give it to the vendor to supply, to return, to confirm back on the request for quotation which you have given? You have given the request for quotation. The request for quotation details should be provided by the vendor. So what is the deadline within which he needs to provide or reply back to your quotation? That is 1506. After 1506, if he replied, you are not going to consider that quotation for the comparison purpose. Okay, what is the purchase organization? IN47, purchasing group is 000, and the plant is IN47, and the storage location is 0002. So I just click on enter button. You are going to create 3 requests for quotations against 3 different vendors. You want to give some common tracking number, so you can give the tracking number as a collective number for all the 3 quotations. I can give TR_1234. I will click on enter button. So the material is X906, and I'm going to request a quotation quantity of, let us say, 10,000 numbers. And what is the delivery date? So the delivery date should be after the quotation deadline date. Okay, so the delivery date you can put it as 20/06/2022. What is the meaning of delivery date? You asked one of the vendor to provide the quotation within the deadline date of 15/06. If you are fine with this particular supplier to supply the materials, they can only deliver the material after the date of the quotation deadline date. That is 20/06/2022 or 16/06, anything you can select. So I just click on enter. So I am trying to raise a request for quotation against vendor number 1. So how I will create? I will select this particular line item. I will go to the vendor address. So vendor number 1 is 7028. And I will save it. So I have created a request for quotation against vendor number 1, that is 67062. So RFQ number 1 is 67062 against vendor number 1. Then what is the RFQ against vendor number 2? That is 70. I need to put the vendor number over here as a 7029. I need to save it. So the request for quotation number 2 against the vendor number 2 is 60063. What is the quotation against vendor number 7030? Save it. So the quotation is 64. So I created 3 requests for quotations, each quotation against a different vendor. Okay, so like this I need to create the request for quotations. Okay, now I have taken the printout of these quotations and given to the vendor. Against these quotations, vendor will give me the details of the prices at which he wants to deliver the material. So let us say vendor 1 said he will supply the material X906 at the rate of 10 rupees. He said 15 rupees, he said 20 rupees. I need to maintain these prices against the each and every quotation. Where I will maintain, I will go to the quotation maintenance. So if I wanted to maintain the prices, before that I want to change the quotation. How I will change? I will go to ME42. Let us say I want to add something over here. I can add it or change it over here by using ME42. ME43 for the display. So this is the display transaction code for the request for quotation. Then maintain supplement means I created a request for quotation. I want to maintain some additional information. So I can maintain header text over here. I can maintain the header note over here if required. I can maintain the pricing types. I can maintain something over here. Any information if I want to maintain, I can maintain by using the header text and the maintain supplement transaction code. ME44 is for the maintain supplement. A release strategy for the request for quotations, we will see it when we are creating a purchase order. One release strategy for the request for quotations, contracts and the scheduling agreement and purchase orders can be created. So we will discuss the purchase request for quotation release strategy during the purchase order creation. Okay, for now we are not going to do this thing, but we will see when we are doing the purchase order creation. List of request for quotations if you wanted to see. So what and all the request for quotation that you have created for this particular vendor, you will be able to see vendor wise request for quotations. So this is the list which will give you the list of quotation that you created against a vendor wise. Material wise request for quotations. If you wanted to see the list of quotation that are created for a particular material X906, you can see by this particular transaction code. Okay, so now you wanted to see the list of quotation that you created by collective number or material group request, all those things. These are the sum of the reports based upon which you will be able to see the list of request for quotation that you have created. Okay, so then we have a price maintenance. The vendor said, vendor 1 said he will be able to deliver the material at the rate of 10 rupees. Again, it is particular quotation. So vendor 2 said 15, vendor 3 said 20 rupees. So you need to maintain these prices, right? Where you will maintain? You will maintain these prices into the ME47 transaction code. I will go to the ME47. And what is the quotation number 1? That is 62. So against this quotation, vendor said he will be able to deliver the material at the rate of 10 rupees per piece. So you need to maintain the 10 rupees over here. Then quotation number 3, 63. Here you can maintain the price as 15 rupees. Again is the quotation number 2. And again is the quotation number 3, you can maintain the price as 20 rupees. Okay, so I can save it. So I just maintained the prices that are being adjusted, that are being provided by the each and every vendor against each and every quotation. Okay, so we can stop here today. Tomorrow we can continue. Okay, so we can stop the session here today. Tomorrow we can continue. Any doubts on today's session?
No.
Okay, so you are practicing, right? I thought I will have you check on today what is the level of practice you are doing, but because of the SAP non-availability, we were not able to concentrate. We will see tomorrow. Okay, so thank you for joining the call. Thank you. Bye bye.